The elders warned us. Some sounds are not meant for daylight. Tonight, we listen to the whispers of the ancestors. In our culture, there is a sound no one jokes about. A sound that can silence a whole compound in seconds. A sound that makes even grown men freeze where they stand, and mothers pull their children closer without saying a word. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. Sometimes it is barely more than a breath, but once you hear it, your body understands before your mind does. Death is near. I grew up in a small village where nights were respected. When the sun dipped below the trees and the sky turned the color of ash, people hurried home. Doors were shut early, fires burned low. Not because of thieves or wild animals, but because the night had its own rules. And one of those rules was about sound. There are many noises at night in the village: crickets, frogs, wind through palm leaves, the distant cough of an old man. But there is one sound that does not belong. One sound that when it appears means something has crossed over. They say every culture has a warning sound. Ours is older than the village itself. The first time I heard it, I was a child, too young to understand why my grandmother's hands began to shake. We were sitting outside, shelling groundnuts under the moonlight. The night was calm, too calm. Then it came, a low, hollow call, not quite a whistle, not quite a cry. It sounded like someone trying to call your name without using their voice. My grandmother dropped the bowl. She didn't look toward the sound. She didn't speak. She stood up slowly, gathered us inside, and locked the door. Only then did she whisper, "Someone's time is close." I asked her who made the sound. She looked at me for a long time before answering. "Not someone," she said, "something." In our culture, death does not arrive unannounced. It sends messengers. Sometimes they come as dreams, sometimes as animals behaving strangely, and sometimes as sound. The elders say the sound travels ahead of death, clearing the path, letting the living know to prepare, letting the spirits know to open the way. They also say you must never respond to it, never imitate it, never ask questions, never call back, because that sound is not meant for the living. Years passed, and like most children, I forgot the fear. Life went on. People were born. People died. Stories became background noise. Until the night, the sound returned. It was during the rainy season, the kind of night where the clouds hang low and the air feels heavy, like it's holding its breath. I was older then, about 16, and foolish in the way young people are when they think fear is a childish thing. I was walking home from a friend's house when I heard it. Clearer this time, closer, a slow, dragging sound, followed by that hollow call. It came from the direction of the old footpath near the forest, the same path no one used after dark. My heart began to race, but curiosity pushed harder than fear. I told myself it was an animal. I told myself the elders exaggerated. Then the sound came again, and this time it felt like it passed through me instead of around me. My skin prickled, my chest tightened, and without thinking, I whispered, "Who's there?" The night answered by going silent. No insects, no wind, nothing. That silence was worse than the sound. I remembered my grandmother's warning too late. My legs refused to move. Then, From behind me, the sound returned. Not ahead, not far away, right behind me. I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't shout. I ran like the ground itself was trying to swallow me. When I burst into our compound, my father was already standing outside, his face pale. "You heard it," he said. It wasn't a question. I nodded, shaking. "Did you answer it?" I hesitated. That hesitation was enough. My father's expression changed, not to anger, but to fear. Deep, old fear. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me inside. My mother began to cry softly as my grandmother brought out a calabash filled with ash and herbs. That night, they didn't sleep. They marked my forehead. They spoke prayers I had never heard before. They burned leaves that filled the house with a bitter smell. And all the while, I could still hear the sound outside, circling, waiting. Just before dawn, it stopped. The next morning, the village awoke to news. An old man had died in his sleep, peacefully, they said. But those who knew, knew. The sound had come for him. I thought that would be the end of it, a warning learned the hard way. But death does not like to be ignored, and it does not like to be answered. 3 days later, my dreams changed. I began to hear the sound in my sleep, not loud, not threatening, familiar, almost gentle. It called from far away, drawing me towards a place I couldn't see. Each time I woke up, my heart felt heavier, like something was slowly tying a rope around it. My grandmother noticed. She said the sound had marked me. "When you answered it," she explained, "it learned your voice." I asked her if that meant I was going to die. She shook her head. "Not yet, but death knows you now." In our culture, being known by death is dangerous. It means you must walk carefully, speak less at night, avoid lonely paths, and above all, never go toward the sound if you hear it again. Then one evening, it happened again. This time, it wasn't just me. We were many, sitting around a fire, telling stories, laughing too loudly. The night was deep, the kind of night elders hate. Then the sound cut through the laughter like a blade. Everyone froze. No one laughed again. It came from the forest edge, slow, hollow, patient. One of the boys, trying to prove he wasn't afraid, stood up. He said it was nonsense, that it was just wind or an animal. Before anyone could stop him, he mimicked the sound, laughing as he did. The fire flickered violently. The sound answered instantly. Louder, closer. The boy's laughter died in his throat. We dragged him back as he started to shake. He didn't stop shaking for hours. That night, he kept whispering that something had leaned close to him, that it smelled like damp earth and old bones. 2 days later, his mother fell ill. By the end of the week, she was gone. No one blamed the boy out loud, but everyone knew. The sound does not forgive mockery. After that, the village became quiet again. Nights returned to their proper silence. People respected the darkness the way they used to, and the sound did not return for a long time. Until the night it came for someone I loved. My grandmother. I heard it just before dawn, soft, almost tired. It drifted through the window like a final breath. My heart sank. I knew before anyone told me. When I went to her room, she was already gone, peaceful, ready. The elders said the sound had come to guide her, that not all appearances of it are cruel. Sometimes it is simply doing its work. But they also reminded us of the rule. If you hear it and you are not the one being called, you must not interfere. Now, years later, I live far from the village. Cities are loud, nights are noisy. People think they are safe because there is always sound around them. But sometimes, late at night, when everything else goes quiet, I hear it. Not outside, inside my head, a familiar, hollow call. And I remember what my grandmother said. Some sounds are not meant to scare you. They are meant to warn you. So if one night everything goes silent around you, and you hear a sound that feels